The protagonists of the Assassin's Creed games are almost always hardened individuals who hold tightly to their ideas. But no matter how great and how strong they are, I believe each of them has their weaknesses. And these weaknesses can be taken advantage of to turn them into the very thing they hate the most: Templars. So I decided to do a simple brain exercise where I think of ways of turning the AC protagonists into Templars. I will be looking at the moments where they are vulnerable to ideological attacks and also taking into account their personalities and ideas. So without further ado, let's start. First is Altair. Altair, I think, is an easy one to turn simply because at the very first time we met him there in the cave, he basically kills an innocent guy. Remember that? That's the first thing we do as Altair. We walk up into an innocent guy and we just assassinate him. Then our assassin brothers question us, "Hey, why did you kill this guy? He was innocent." And Altair just said, "Everything is permitted. It matters not how we do things, but the result of it," or something like that. And I think that mentality that Altair had at that moment aligned perfectly with how the Templars work. Like, that's how the Templars see the world, right? Everything is permitted to them. And in their pursuit of peace and order, they do anything they can, whether it looks bad or whether it harms another person, place, or whatever. They just do things because they want to get to a certain result, to a certain goal. And it really doesn't matter who they need to get rid of, who they need to step on. And that was Altair's thinking. And I think at that cave and at that moment, I think it would have been possible to turn Altair. So how do we go about it? Well, what I'm thinking was Robert Tisab could have said to Altair who Al-Mulim was. He could have told him that, "Hey, Al-Mulim was with us before, there were 10 of us and we found this artifact, but now he just wants it for his own," and yada yada yada. And he could have explained that to Altair, enlightened him in some way, and make sure that Altair doesn't return to the fortress or to Masyaf. And Altair may not believe Robert, and he would push back against those allegations. So what I think, maybe Robert also lets him leave, but tells him, "Hey, we've got your back. We can help you if you ever decide that Al-Mulim is not the person he is and you want to save your brothers or you want to save Masyaf from whatever plan Al-Mulim has." But also, I think it is important to note that we'll have to kill Malik and the other guy, his brother, and just leave Altair, because the alternate is to convert these three people, which is, maybe also possible. But basically, what should end up is Altair has the apple and he will return to Masyaf and give it to Al-Mulim. Then from there, he'll question Al-Mulim, but he'll also see, right? He'll also notice what Al-Mulim was actually planning. And maybe Al-Mulim would still give him that list of targets. And instead of assassinating them, right, maybe Altair starts asking questions. Maybe he asks them who Al-Mulim is to these people. And that's where he will slowly learn about who Al-Mulim really is and slowly but surely turn him into a Templar. Next is Ezio. So Ezio is a hard one because first we met him at a very young age and he was really just a carefree kid. He was just running on the rooftop with his brothers, visiting girls and doing whatever he wants, right? He was also oblivious about the assassin and Templar conflict. Like, he doesn't know about those things. And so I'm not sure about what could his motivation be like or what other personalities he has. Because yes, we played as Ezio at a very young age, but that didn't really reveal too much about his personality. We only know he was carefree, he was a good son also, that's one thing. But the deeper parts of the personality, we really didn't get to see that, and we just jumped into an Ezio who was looking for revenge. And to me, I think that's the key to Ezio, revenge. What we need is to let the assassins assassinate his father, Giovanni. But the problem with that is Giovanni is an assassin, right? So what I think would work is plant some misinformation here and there, manipulate some people, create some spectacles or whatever, and make the assassins think that Giovanni is turning and a threat to the Assassin Brotherhood. Make the assassins think that Giovanni is compromising the Assassin's Creed. And maybe, just maybe, they would send someone to assassinate him. And it would be also imperative to let Ezio see that happen, make sure he's on that path of revenge, and along the way let Templar's agent guide him and mold him into like the perfect Templar agent. someone who does everything in his power to achieve a certain goal, and has that idea that order does come with a price. Peace and order does come with a price, and common men are not willing to take that risk, but we, the Templars, have to do that for them. For Connor, it's actually easy. Connor joined the Assassins because he wanted the skills and whatever necessary to fight the Templars, right? To fight Charles Lee, who he thought burned down his village. But the thing is, it wasn't the Templars that burned his village, right? It was George Washington. So I think what would have happened is that Charles Lee, instead of antagonizing the little Connor, he should have told him the truth. He should have said that, hey, this wasn't us. George Washington ordered this, and whatever, yada yada yada. And from then on, Connor would have been against Washington, meaning he could have been recruited to the Templar Order. Heck, he could have grown up under Haytam's guidance, right? They could have been a father and son duo, a father and son Templar duo. That would have been a cool one to see. And so yeah, right? But instead, because Charles Lee didn't say, I don't know, did Charles Lee knew about it? I really forgot about the plot of AC3, but I think he should know. Like, he didn't call it, so yeah, he shouldn't know. So he should have told Connor, hey, this wasn't us. This was Washington's idea. Go get him. And we would have a Templar Connor. Next is Edward. So at first, I thought Edward was impossible to turn into a Templar. This is because in the game, he had the opportunity to become a Templar, right? When he dressed up as Walpole and went into the meeting with the Templars, actually with the Templar Grand Master, he saw what they were planning, he basically mingled with them, and he left there not wanting to be part of them. And after that interaction, he didn't want to have anything to do with them. He thinks that Taurus is actually an asshole and he can't be rich because of people like Taurus. So I was thinking, okay, he had that opportunity already and he didn't take it because despite him being a pirate and focusing on getting wealth, he didn't want someone running things that's basically omniscient, right? To his mind, he just wanted to be rich. He wanted to plunder, he wanted to steal stuff and sell them. And so I think it is kind of difficult to turn someone like that because theoretically, he could have worked for the Templars and just be paid, right? He could have been the richest pirate there is if he just joined the Templar, maybe. I don't know. So yeah, I don't think it's possible for Edward to be a Templar. Okay, Arno. Arno's actually an easy one to turn. I think if Arno was inducted into the Templar Order early, similar to Elise, he would have easily become a good Templar agent. Like, Arno didn't really have anything against the Assassins or the Templars. Yes, his father died because of Shay, who was a Templar, but he was not aware of that. And since he's simping for Elise already, inducting him into the Templar Order would have been an easy way to turn him. Another way to turn Arno is after Delasar died, he should have not been exposed to Belek or any other assassin in the prison. Like, if he somehow got out of the prison without Belek telling him about the assassins or telling him that, hey, you should find me after we escape, he would have escaped the prison. He would probably have met Elise sometime later again. And after they solved Delasar's death and, wipe out the traitors in the Templar Order, he could have been a good Templar agent or something. Next is Eevee. Eevee is actually a good Templar candidate because she has the mindset of a good Templar agent. Like, she's reasonable, she's meticulous, she likes to plan things out, and she always fixes the things that Jacob messes up. And so to turn her, I guess, is really simple. Make sure Jacob creates a mess that is like 1,000 times worse than what he has ever done before. Like, maybe he causes a part of London to explode or something, which would cause thousands of casualties. And Eevee will be horrified by what would have happened. And while she's looking for a way to, absolve her brother of the guilt and, just make things right, the Templars could come in, tell her, hey, we got you. We can help you clean this mess up. We can help you rebuild this place. We can help you pay for reparation for the sins of your brother and things like that. And, her knowing that there's no other way, the assassins don't have the funds to fix that. They don't have the means, probably. That's where she could just turn. She would have just accept defeat, and she might even see that, hey, the Templars are actually trying to help. The Templars, despite all the wrongdoings, actually have the means to save people. and I could be a Templar agent who does good things for the innocent. For Jacob, it's similar to how turn Eevee, right? Make him do a catastrophic failure that leads to the deaths of thousands of people. Now, because of his guilt, because of him wanting to do good by the people he has affected, he might be more open to get help, to get aid from the Templar Order. Like, use the guilt he has for all the mistakes he have made and make him see that, hey, join the Templar Orders and we can help you fix what you destroyed, right? We can help you fix what you've broken in London. And also, I think both for Eevee and Jacob, I think it's important to prevent them having a tie with Henry Green. Because if you remember, Eevee and Jacob basically went rogue at the start of Syndicate. Their assassin mentor, I think, wanted them to go to another place. However, they decided, hey, let's just go to London. And they just hopped on a train and went to London. There, they met Henry Green. And because of Henry Green, they still had ties with the assassin. They had a reason to abide by the Assassin's Creed, by the 3 tenets. I mean, Eevee would still probably have followed the tenets, but Jacob is a little bit iffy. However, Henry Green became that foundation of them operating as assassins. And I think that's important to note and also an essential thing to break if we want to turn them into Templars. Henry Green must go. Henry Green should never have any contact with Eevee and Jacob, and that would allow us to easily turn the twins into the Templar Order. Next is Bayek. I think Bayek is nearly impossible to turn simply because the Order of the Ancients, which is the Templars in Origins, were responsible for his son's death. Like, he was fueled by rage, by anger, by the want to eliminate everyone on Siwa that day. And I think there was no way to quench that anger except for killing everyone in the Order. I had this idea that maybe another branch of the Order of the Ancients would go to Bayek and tell him that, hey, these members are responsible for the death of your son, and we want to replace them with these people, with this new set of Order members. And so I had that idea, but I think Bayek is really just too angry to see reason. I think he's too angry not to kill other Order of the Ancients members. The only way I think Bayek could have turned is if there was a different organization with a different name. So a badly put name would probably be like, let's say, Child of the Cross. And they could go to Bayek and tell them, hey, we want to remove this Order of the Ancient members and replace them with these people who would protect the innocent but also would strive for order and peace. And I think that would be possible. Just make sure that Bayek doesn't see a lot of similarities between this new organization and the Order of the Ancient, because if he sees even a slight hint that they are from the same root, I think he will eliminate them all. So yeah, that's for Bayek. Next is Cassandra. Cassandra is actually easy as well, because in the game, the Cult of Cosmos, while they were very similar to the Templars and the Order of the Ancients, they're not really the same. The Cult of Cosmos is just another one of the many cults in Greece. They're probably just the biggest. And so the only thing that needed to happen was an Order of the Ancients member could go to Cassandra and ask her, hey, I can help you deal with this cult who's doing a bad job governing Greece. Right? Like, for example, Herodotus could have been a member of the Order of the Ancients, maybe? I don't know. But something like that, right? Someone from the Order of the Ancients who's not really that evil, who's not killing innocents, would go to Cassandra and just say, hey, I can help deal with this cult. And with that, Cassandra would have been an ally to the Order of the Ancients. Now, the only problem with this is that in the DLC, Legacy of the First Blade, Cassandra fights with the Order of the Ancients. And at first, the reason for her fighting them is she's protecting Darius and what's his name, I forgot. And then it became personal when they kidnapped her child. But I think because Cassandra will be already an ally of the Order of the Ancients, she would be more open for the Order to, take care or maybe teach her child certain ideas, certain ideologies. And I think she would be okay with that. Really depends on what they teach. But yeah, something like that. For Eivor, I think it's actually easy. I think the key is Sigurd. So instead of Basim and Hatham coming home with Sigurd to Norway, it should have been Alfred or another one of his close attendants, maybe Goodwin or someone else. And from that, the Order of the Ancients could have established a relationship with Eivor and of course the Vikings. And even once they reach England, I think the story wouldn't really change much. As we know, Alfred is the poor fellow soldier of Christ who was feeding Eivor information about the Order of the Ancient Members. And he was doing this because he wanted to purge the order of its pagan members. And so I think the story wouldn't really change much because Alfred wants Eivor to eliminate those other Order of the Ancient Members. She was basically doing what the Grand Master of the Order wants her to do. Eivor was helping Alfred accomplish his grand goals for the Order. So I think there is no need to turn Eivor because what Eivor was doing in England already aligned with what Alfred wants to do. So, depending on your perspective, depending on how you see things, you can even say that Eivor was a pseudo-member of the Order of the Ancients or a pseudo-member of the Templar because she basically helped Alfred purge the Order. For Basim, I think it's also an easy one, simply because Basim's weakness, I think, is his ambition. Like in Mirage, he repeatedly says that he wants to become something more, right? Wants to become something greater, I guess. And so, the key to turning Basim into a Templar is at the very start of the game, when he just killed the Caliphate or Khalifa, whatever you pronounce it. Instead of the guards looking for him to kill him, they should have captured him instead. And after capturing him, a member of the Order of the Ancients could have told him who he was. Because if you remember at the end of Mirage, Kabiha knew who Basim was. She knew that Basim was probably Loki or some other reincarnation of an Isu, right? So I'm pretty sure they knew that before Basim was an assassin or before Basim became an assassin. So if they captured him instead and then told him, hey man, you're Loki, you're actually this powerful being and you have the capability to do this and that, and we have the means to help you do that, I think he would be willing and he would be welcoming to the idea of becoming a Templar or an Order of the Ancient member. And so that's it. If you made it this far, thank you, and maybe consider leaving a like and a sub to help the channel grow. Thanks again.